Hi everybody and welcome to my garden. At least this time of the year, my kitchen is my garden because I have tons of tropical plants overwintering inside the house, including my coffee tree. And if you want to grow your own coffee as a houseplant, it is totally doable, although coffee trees would imply that it needs to be gigantic. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a very big plant. Just a few feet tall and it'll start producing coffee fruit for you. It is a little bit finicky inside the house all year long, but if you take it outside on your patio, full shade like I do during the summertime, you're going to have really good results from a coffee plant. And if you manage to do well with other plants like gardenias, then coffee plants, they're gonna be great for you too. So you might want to consider this plant if you're a coffee lover. All right, so the cool thing about a coffee plant being related to gardenias is firstly, they like shade, so you don't need to give this a full sun location in your house. It's actually preferred that they grow in shade, which makes it really helpful for farmers that are growing coffee plants because you can grow these as understory trees. You don't have to dedicate and clear out a whole entire field for a coffee farm. So coffee can be very sustainably farmed, and it can also be grown as a houseplant because it doesn't need a ton of sunlight. I do take my coffee tree outside during the summertime so that way it gets the humidity it needs. But as I mentioned, it is related to a gardenia, so in addition to being a shade lover, it has beautiful, fragrant white flowers that develop before the coffee fruit do. So just the flowers alone make this plant really fun to grow. It's not in bloom right now, but the flowers, they kind of look a little bit like a citrus flower. And by the way, right next to me, I have my beautiful ponderosa lemon tree. It is huge, those lemons. I got 4 lemons from it this year, also a tiny tree. So I'm hoping that this video inspires you to try some exotic fruits because you're not gonna see a giant lemon at the grocery store and you're not gonna see a coffee cherry at a grocery store either. So that's what these are called. They're called coffee cherries. I'm gonna put this plant down so that we can talk about the fruit. So a coffee cherry is actually the flesh that surrounds what we know as a coffee bean, but that's actually a lie. Coffee is not from a bean. It's actually just a ground up seed of a coffee fruit. Around this beautiful red fruit is a pretty thick looking seed coating. And this little fruit coating, sorry, look how dirty my hands are. I apologize for that. Listen, I think if you're watching this and you're still watching this video, then you're a gardener, so you get the dirty fingers. Anyway, so this is the coffee fruit, and around it is a coating that you can actually dry up and use as a tea. And in, I believe, Yemen and Ethiopia, it's very popularized to make a tea out of the coating of a coffee cherry. All of this has caffeine in it, by the way. The interesting thing is, so I'm going to open this up. You would probably want to use a knife if you are planning on making this sanitary, but so there you go. This right here has a nice little flesh around it. Do you see? So that flesh is sweet, and I'm just kind of licking it just to get an idea of what the flavor's like. And it's sweet. It's floral. It's interesting. I don't think I would go out of my way to eat a coffee cherry. However, it's kind of fun that I can because I grew it. So I'm able to have an experience that nobody else can really have. This is also something I'm going to keep, so the whole entire fruit can be used. Another benefit to this beautiful plant is that it's sustainable in the fact that the fruits can be used in its entirety. You grind up the seeds for coffee, you can eat the coffee flesh, you can make a tea out of this outer coating of the fruit, and then, like I said, this is a shade tolerant tree, and there are not a lot of crops in the world that tolerate shade, so that also is a huge plus. So coffee can be sustainable and ethical and all those wonderful things, and it's a great house plant. So why does one of my coffee plants look like this and the other one look like this? Well, it's because this one was actually given to me from a local nursery. It's called Fantastic Gardens. They also have a mail order website, so I'll leave a link for that. I'm not getting any kickbacks or anything. I just love supporting our local businesses here on Long Island, and they really do an excellent job of sourcing unusual plants. You'll also see them, I believe it's the Union Street Farmers Market in the city on Wednesdays, I want to say, or Saturdays maybe, during the summertime especially, but they're actually there all year long. So a lot of places you can find fantastic gardens, but they're located in Patchogue if you want to visit their nursery, or you could just go online and buy some of the unusual plants that they have there. Really high quality stuff. I got this larger coffee tree from them. This smaller coffee tree I actually got when I was visiting my friends in Austin, because I can't travel without bringing a plant back with me. So we went to a nursery and I saw this tiny, tiny coffee plant, and I was like, I want to bring this back home. And I did. That was a year and a half ago. So it's grown quite a bit since then. It's not a really fast grower, but you know, this one is getting some size to it. Once they start branching, kind of making a Y shape, once they start making a Y or peace sign, that's when it's big enough to start producing the berries. So when it's growing up as a single stem, probably not going to get berries. But as you can see with this older one that I got from Fantastic Gardens, it's branching, and now you're starting to see the berries. So I'm expecting I'm going to see berries for the first time ever on this one this summer. So about 2 years after I bought it, and I'm going to get coffee cherries from it. So just to give you a little timeline of what to expect if you get your own coffee tree. So as far as care goes, high humidity, water regularly, but give it some really nice, well-draining soil. Basically just treat it like a gardenia and you're going to have a happy plant. An acidic fertilizer would help, but honestly, really haven't had any big problems with anything finicky like pH balance. It's not that hard of a thing to take care of. If it was, I don't think that it would be a very good house plant, but I do think it's a good house plant. See, all right, so I'm putting mine back right where I found it. I took it out for the video, but this is where it's been, and I'm gonna show you where it normally is. You see, firstly, look how beautiful these leaves are. I leave it just tucked in between all of my other plants. I do have 2 grow lights, but the grow lights are pretty far away from the coffee tree, so I don't actually think that the coffee tree is really benefiting from the grow lights. And if anything, it's getting most of its light from the skylight, because you can see I have no windows really nearby my coffee plant, just sort of tucked away in there. But I do have a pretty healthy Bismarckia palm, and that's a highlight plant. I have a variegated hibiscus that's doing pretty well, but that one is close to the grow light. So there are some highlight plants that are around my coffee tree. However, the coffee tree itself isn't really getting a ton of light from anything other than the skylight, just to give you an idea of the kind of light it needs. So if you have a skylight, if you have even a north-facing window, you're probably good. You could probably enjoy a coffee plant. All right, let me flip the camera just to say goodbye. And maybe I'll show you around a little bit too, because I don't really get a chance to actually show the kitchen. So here's just a wider view of the kitchen. I apologize, I probably have some mess around, but I'm sure most of you are probably just focused on the plants behind me because there's a lot of them. And you can see it's giving me a lot of joy during these darker days. But we're getting to spring, and I'm very excited for these plants to go outside. As nice as they are as roommates, they need to find their own space. Anyway, I will see you all soon. I hope that this inspires you to grow some coffee, and I would not expect for you to get enough coffee to maybe make cups and cups of it, but you could, make a little espresso and let me know what you think.